Okay, so thank you for joining this meeting. This is going to be an overview of the VEO for the Mississauga Soccer Academy. And I'm going to cover the following things. I'm going to cover how you can access your account and create an account to access all the videos. We will then go through the VEO player and show you some of the key features that are available. Okay, and then we're going to go through creating profiles. So you can showcase the highlights to other people, and then creating highlights, and then downloading and sharing the recordings. All right, so let me continue with the presentation. Okay, so a couple of things I wanted to highlight. So what is a VEO? So basically it's a solution that enables to film matches automatically and provide analysis of the game. So when you notice in the rep games, we have the camera most of the time, and we use that for analysis to help our kids. So right now we have multiple cameras to support all the rep teams. So we have 3. So yeah, I was saying benefits, we can promote player development, we can design better practice sessions, and also showcase player skills to scouts. Okay, so let me go to the next slide here. And essentially what's going to happen is we're going to send you an invite email where you should see some invitation for your child. And you just need to click join and then create an account. So when you create an account, make sure that you use your child's name. So then don't put your name, because sometimes we may not know who you are. But if you specify the child's or player's name, then it's easy to identify them in the videos and also tag them accordingly. In the setup process, you also need to make sure that you select the player profile so that we can create profiles for everybody. Okay, so this is an example of what we want to create. This is a profile that I have for my son, where you have videos that you can highlight and showcase, and then you can have information about their height, their weight, what kind of foot they prefer playing with, the strong foot, and then you have images and then preferred positions. So let me go now to our page. So right now I signed up as Matthias, which is my son, and you will go to the clubhouse. So in the clubhouse here, you will select your team. So in this case, I'm going to select boys 2015. And from here, you have all the recordings of all the games that were created. So here, I'm going to go and click on the Force Academy game. And now it takes you to the actual game where you can review the footage. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a second and see if there are any questions. Okay, I'm assuming there's no questions. So a couple of things. So here you can see you can play the footage, right? And we are using the broadcast view, where essentially the camera follows where the ball is. Now, a few things you should notice here. Every single thing here that you see little dots, those are highlights. So I could go to the next highlight and play it. And then you can go back or to the or forward on the next highlight. You can pause, okay? You can also unmute the sound, right? By default, it's always muted. You can use a full screen if you want to as well. So it's very easy to review the footage. There's another feature here called the speed run. So what this does is essentially, if you do that, you will skip all the moments where the ball is out of play or there's a long stoppage. So here, the other team could score a goal, and then it will just then move to the next highlight. Okay. So a couple of things. So I'm going to disable that. On the right side, you will also see the highlights list, where we have all the highlights that the camera takes. So the camera has AI, and it could determine when there's a shot on goal or a goal kick or a foul, right? And then it will tell you, it will take you to the footage. So here I click there, it takes me to the shot on goal. But if I go a free kick, then it takes me to a free kick that happened here. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, so So now you have the highlights here. Then you have another section here that's called summary. So this is a summary of the game. So here it gives you the final result and then our team versus the other team. Okay. Now, a couple of other things here. You could also change this broadcast view to an interactive mode. So if I go to the interactive player mode, which was one of the icons here, I can select this view where I can just pan, right? You can move your mouse, go left to right, you can zoom in, okay? And you can zoom out. So this is good when you want to focus on positioning and you want to focus on a specific player. So that's one feature. And then when in the interactive view, you can also click here on the panoramic view, which basically takes the whole footage of the whole field. So it's easy to see what is happening in the entire field. So that's another great feature. Okay, so now if there's no other questions about viewing the play, I'm going to help you create a profile, and then we can go out on creating highlights. But are there any other questions? So now we're going to go to the how to create a profile. I'm going to give you specific steps. So when you sign up, I'm just going to reload this page. Okay, Marina, you have a question?
Yes. Yes, I have a question. So the invites, so it's the again, so just because again I remember you were explaining a few things to me. The invite email is done by whoever hosts basically that account. Is that correct? So
Yeah,
to invite all the parents on that team, correct?
right. So whoever the is an admin on the team. So
Okay,
so hopefully for the team managers, they will have access to create and invite people. So
right?
that's what you have to do. Yep. So not
Okay,
everybody has these capabilities. Only certain people have the ability to invite
okay. And then basically the team manager, whoever manages that account, sends the invite to all the parents. And then now you're gonna show how for them to create the
the
each
profile.
kid's account profile. Okay,
Correct.
perfect. I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. No problem. So let me go back to. All right. So I created the account already for this new account, and then what you need to do in order to create a profile, you will have to go to this section, right? So this is the clubhouse, and then you click on player profile. Okay. So on the player profile, you have to log in again. So here I'm going to select this email address and log in. Okay, so once you log in, it gets comes up with a prompt to get you started with the profile. So I can go and get start. And here, what you would do, you can select the preferred position for your kid. So I'm going to select, in this case, forward, but you can select defender, whatever you want, right? And this, what this does is it gives you different abilities that we're going to review later on. So for a striker, you'll be by default have the ability to head the ball, finish, speed, and strength. And you can tag highlights according to your abilities. But I showcase a little bit more of what this is. So once you select the preferred position, you go done. And now it takes you to this view. Okay. So in this view, you will select highlights and tag them to your kit. But before we do that, we're gonna go to the player profile settings. Yeah. So on the top right, you select player profiles, and here you can add information. So what I'm gonna do here first, I'm gonna edit our the picture. So you can upload a picture here. So go to upload, and then we're gonna go to our roster. Okay, there. Okay, so that is entered. You can adjust the height if you want to. Move it over, okay, and saves. Right. So the picture's there. You can have some information about the player, number 10, something about me, and then you can create, edit your other information such as strong foot. So here, Right, I'm just put some random numbers for testing, but here you select different things. The date you want to, right? Okay, so the information is saved, and here you can also add more positions. So initially we added striker, but let's say your kid also plays midfield, so you can select that. So you can select two more as preferred positions, and then it will save information. Okay. So now we have a profile, but now what we need to do is add highlights. Okay. So now I'm gonna see and pause here, see if there's any questions so far. Right. So if we're good, we're gonna continue them. So, and go to how to add highlights to your profile. So let me go back to our edit highlights section. So in here, you have all the highlights for every single game, depending on whether your team has been added or not. So one of the things I will do here, I'm just going to select this one here, this clip, and I'm going to play it. And you can search specific clips. I'm randomly selecting one here. So here, Matthias is covering someone here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as added to the profile. And here you can select the different abilities. So for now, I'm just going to put strength. And then you can tag your player here. So Matthias is kind of hidden there. So I'm going to maybe do a bit, play a bit later. Right there. And then you can tag right there. Okay. Save that. Okay, so now what's going to happen is when the highlight is showcased, then you can see there's a tag in there as well. Okay, so now that I selected the profile ability. Okay, have I go ahead? You have a question?
So we can do zoom so the highlight can appear.
Yeah, I'll show you a little bit later on how to do that. Right now, the clip has already been created, so it's hard to zoom in, right?
Okay.
But I'll showcase that a bit later as well. So what happens here is these are all created highlights already. So that's why it's hard to zoom in, but I'm going to show you how to do that. But before I proceed, right, one of the things I mentioned was abilities. So right now you can have up to 4 abilities, and you can manage your abilities. So for example, let's say you don't want heading, you wanted marking. So you can go scroll down and select defense. Let's see for defense anything. Yeah, marking right there. Right. So I'm gonna save and close. And then I can go back to the highlight that I just was working on, and I'm gonna change this. So instead of strength, I'm gonna put it as marking. Okay, and then I'm gonna remove that. All right, so save. And then once you go to your profile, that highlight should appear now. Okay, so now whatever I did there, it's highlighted, and then information is there. So to show you one that is working well already that I created for Matthias, let me just go here. Right, so you can essentially select different highlights, tag them to different abilities. So anytime you select an ability, you can go back and forth, and then the different ability will be showcased. Okay. So if you wanted to look into finishing, you go there and then go, and then depending on where you put your tag and also your highlighted player. So here stops, okay, and then the play continues. Right, so we'll continue. So now what I want to do is, let's say I'm in this profile, and I want to create highlights. So in order to create highlights, you have to go to your game or any game. And then what we're going to do, we're going to create a highlight for a specific play. Okay, so I'm just looking at some footage here. So that one, I think the kids did a really great job passing, back, resetting, and forwarding. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a highlight and make sure that the kids know about it. So in order to create a highlight, you will go to create highlight on the top right. Okay, the first thing you need to do is you need to select a tag. Okay, so in most cases, these are already pretty fine, but for our purposes, I suggest we use post-match analysis, right? And then you have to select whether you want this camera or the interactive camera. Okay, so that's one of the options. But let's just follow the follow-up camera, which is the broadcast camera, and then you can select the team. All right, so I think I lost it by clicking somewhere else. Let me just start over again. I think the place was kind of there. Okay, so here we create post-match analysis. You select your team. You can also tag players. So it's important why we want everyone to have an account. So here I have all the players. So here I'm gonna tag John. Like he's not there. Maybe I'll tag Matthias for now. Okay, and then I could also mention here great pass. After that, you have to select the visibility. So here you can say if you want everyone to show it, but most likely we only want our teams to show things, to see things, or you can also select yourself if you don't share with anyone else. But I'm just going to put teams so that we can share with the coaches and other team members, and they can see. Okay, so now what I do, I save this, and then I select the timeline where I want to create a clip. So we're just going to go back and forth, right? So you can select which part. So here, just going to go back to display. Play it. So here you can see the nice reset and then wide open. Okay, so that's great. So we like that clip and we just save it. Okay, so now you close that and it should appear in the clips here when it's done. Okay, so Heba, which part you want me to repeat? The creation of
When
the clip?
you just like select the specific video.
Yeah, okay. Select the video or create a highlight.
Create highlight, sorry.
Okay, right. So this is so before I could proceed, right? So this is the highlight I created. I said gray marking. So this is what we just created. Okay. So once again, I'm going to create another way. So this is using the the follow camera. But what I want to do another type of camera. Okay. So we're going to create another clip. So I'm going to go here. Let's select something here. Okay. I'm going to pause that. So I think here Abude was doing good goal sign marking. Okay. So let's highlight that. So go to the top right here, which says create highlight. You click. First thing you need to do is select a tag, corner, bad pass, wherever you want, right? In this case, we're going to use post-match analysis. And now instead of the follow cam, I'm going to use interactive camera. So this is the one where I think, Heba, you're asking, how can I zoom in, right? So you select interactive, you select your team. So that's on our team. And you can move now the length. Okay, so here, right, the play started there. Okay, but now let's say I wanted to zoom in. So I could add a keyframe here and I can zoom in like this. Okay, let it play. We're gonna now move to the right. Another keyframe. And all this stuff is gonna come with practice. So the more you do it, the easier it's gonna be. Okay, so now let's zoom into this kit. Add a keyframe there. And then let's zoom out. And let's make this clip smaller. Okay, and then we can replay the play. So now all the actions that I did is following the keyframes so that the highlight is looking at specific angles. All right, so I'm going to pause that. I'm going to create. But before I do that, let's see if Colante is here. So I'm going to say Colante and Abude. Okay, I'm going to tag them. And then I'm going to also mention them so that I could say, great job defending. Okay, so the clip is being created, and that's how you can create now a more interactive way to create the highlights. Okay, Marina, you have a question? Go ahead.
Okay, so the question is, so what did you click on that thing? Was it like at the bottom, that little plus sign that allowed you to zoom in? And then it allowed, like, again, I just, like, how did you do those?
Yeah, so zoom in. Yeah, basically you have to move your mouse. You know, the scrolling.
So it automatically places that those little plus signs directly in the video where you zoomed? Is that's what it did?
So you have to move it. Yeah, you have to move it and then zoom in or zoom out. It will be easier once you do it. You figure it out, Marina. But essentially, let me just show you one more time so that people can see it.
Okay,
I
well,
know it's
just very
critical.
quickly, very short, just a couple of things to
Yeah,
zoom on.
yeah, yeah. So here you select interactive. Okay.
Yep.
And what I'm doing here, I'm just moving the mouse because I'm in
Okay.
I'm using my trackpad here. So it's hard
Mhm.
to see what I'm doing. But here I move left and right, and then I can zoom in and out. So I'm using the mouse features here to go up and
Got it.
down.
Okay. And then,
Okay.
so let's say you
And
found it.
then,
Yes.
so you found it. Let's say now you want to play like this, but then you want to zoom in now. So first you zoom in and then you add the keyframe. So now it's saved.
I
Okay. So
understood.
play it again.
I got it. Mhm.
Okay. And then you zoom out. And then when you play from the beginning, you should see the different actions that I did. See, it's going in and
Mhm.
it's going out. Okay.
Perfect. I got it. Mhm. Thank you so much.
All right. All right. So one of the things I did here, I created the highlights, and what we want to do as well as coaches, we want to help our kids. And one of the things that we've done with our 2015 boys, we send the information, I mean the link, and then they can review. So as you can see, I created a bunch of highlights for as my son's profile, right? So you can see the ones you created, you can delete them, right? But the ones that are created by the AI, and if you don't have permissions, you won't be able to. So here we created the one about great passing. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to log in as a coach. Okay. So I'm going to change my view here. So I'm going to go as a coach and go to the same game and then look at that highlight that was created, great passing. So I could then go here and say and comment here, great job, right? Okay, and that information will be saved so that whoever wants to see what everything that's happening on that conversation, they know, right? So that's one way coaches and players can communicate. So as well, if you are, I'm going to pause this. Okay, if you're a player and you're mentioned, you see all the mentions in this mention section. So anytime the coaches want to highlight a play for your kid, they could go here and then review the information. So these are all the highlights that I mentioned Matthias, so we can see everything there so that he can improve. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, so another feature that's important here is the filters. So you got all the highlights here, but you don't want to see all of them. Maybe you want to just see the goals. So you can filter. Um, let's go to the other one. Show the other game. So you can filter. I want to see only goals. So you got the filter. You click on event tags, and then just goals. Okay. So now what's going to happen? It just updates the view so that it only plays the highlight. So anytime you go to the highlight, it should be a goal. Okay, so here's a free kick, and I think we're gonna score from here. Okay, so that's a goal. And then if you go to the next one, it will be another goal as well. So it saves you in, so you don't have to review everything. You just want to only the key moments. All right. Now the question is, how can I download the whole game, or how can I download highlights? You can go here where it says download. So when you click download, it will download the entire game, which is going to be probably like a gig of information. And in some cases, you may not want that. But it also highlights, um, it's only showing the broadcast view, which is a view that follows the ball. However, if you only want to download certain highlights, you can filter them. So let's say I wanted the goals only, which is already filtered. And then you can just say download all filter highlights, and this will only download the goals that were scored. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like. So it's going to be a zip file, and then you can review that and create other videos if you want. Okay, so it's still downloading. Okay, so while this is happening, any questions so far about filters? You can say filtering goals on our own team only, right? So that would be different set of highlights as well. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Marina. I see you have a question.
Yes, so question is so let's suppose I don't want like only the goals. Let's say I marked my son and now I want to download highlights only where basically he performs and etc. Um
Yeah,
do I need to go back to my kid's profile and download each video? Or can I do it directly from here?
yeah. So to download videos, I think you can only do it from here. So
Okay.
let's say you wanted to see. I'm going to tag someone here. So players, so that
Mm-hmm.
we make our highlights smaller. Uh, so there's 3 tags for Matthew. Okay, so now you can see that all the highlights were to go. Or, okay, let me see what the filter is actually. So it's players Matthew, and then I say goal, apply. So now he's only tagged in 2. You can only see two of the videos, and then you want to download them, you just go click here and download. So this is
Okay,
just
so if you want,
downloading so that we can reuse it later on.
okay, I got
Okay.
it. So, but you need to be very clear where your son is playing. So defender or center mid, right? Like, how will the AI know?
No, yeah. So the AI doesn't know automatically. You have to make sure that every clip you review.
Okay.
Yeah, like this thing doesn't tell you this is John and this is Jarius. It'd be nice, but it doesn't do it right now.
And there's no
So
way
what happens?
to tell the AI to put those tags on.
No, yeah, not for the players. I think if we paid another $100,000, maybe that's what they use
Okay,
for FIFA, right? Yes, that would be possible, but not for this solution.
got it.
Yeah. So now what happens is when I tag people, right? And let's say you mention your son, right? And you go to the profile. So now it's easier to select which things you want, because this section here where you're editing highlights to showcase could be too much information. So here when I say mentions, right, it only shows me the clips that he's mentioned, and then I can easily add them to my profile. So to showcase. So here, let's look at this. You can tag yourself here in the time, right? And then whatever highlight you wanted to select. Okay.
And so this profile that you create, so do you share the link to that profile somewhere on social media? Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
Yeah. So what you would do is once you go to your profile, yeah, exactly. You have this, you can share that URL
Okay.
to your family, friends, so they can see everything that your kid is doing.
I got
Right.
it.
You also want to highlight good things, in this case, to showcase. And also want to remind the players when you do analysis, the good things they do, more than just the mistakes they make. But everything that we highlight and share with as coaches, then always looking forward to help the kids play better.
Okay.
Okay. And then if you are willing to create videos, right? If you have a movie editor, you can have all those clips that were downloaded. Okay, and you can upload them. So let me show you that zip file that was created here. It's right here, right? So these are the highlights. This is the whole game, which I don't want, so I'm gonna delete that. But this is the highlights. So you can double click and it shows you the 4 highlights that in this case I selected, and you can play them individually on your laptop. Right? So the highlight that we just did. And then since you have the files, you could actually go ahead and create a movie if you want to, and then share with family and friends. I know I'm not sure if you've seen some of the clips I created, but I take some of the highlights and then I put them in our social media so that we can share with people. So if you have Adobe Premiere or maybe you have Movie Maker from the Apple solution, then you can create clips and then put them together and put some music, right? And just create a highlight reel.
Do you know like specific program or apps they can do the videos?
Yeah, so these are paid applications. You can also see some free ones online as well. But essentially, yeah, the ones that I use right now is Adobe Premiere, and this is on a Windows. But I know if you're using a Mac, an Apple laptop, then you have Movie Maker, which is also free. But feel free to reach out. I can give you more suggestions about.
Okay, thank you.
One thing I forgot to mention here, you see this clip here at drawing? You could actually also draw things like circles, right? If you want to highlight another player. So this is more for the coaches, but if you are confident to use this well, you can play around with that and also create your own clips as well. So let's say, yeah. So, okay, so that's it. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our coaches and have a good evening.